Oh.
Hello, Mr. Hodge.
How's it going?
Another we haven't been canceled yet, so that's
Yeah.
good.
That's the three names of the show. Take 30. We haven't been canceled yet, and Harry knows nothing. Those are working titles.
No, let's say we're past Harry knows nothing. You know something now. I know you know something. You know a few things. Mm-hmm. I know that I've been watching a lot of Olympics and feeling really bad about myself.
Yeah, no, if you ever want to feel bad about yourself, watch a bunch of people that are really fit and good looking doing stuff. I like the Turkish guy with the pistol. He's pretty cool.
He's become a legend, a meme legend. Huh? It's amazing. What's your favorite sport to watch?
I used to be a hurdler. You wouldn't know it now, but I like the hurdles. So I like track. I liked basketball until Canada.
Rugby? Aren't you a rugby player? I thought you played rugby at some point.
I haven't watched the Olympic rugby. I think there's sevens, and is there rugby union now?
It's done. I think it's. I mean, I know that the seventh was rugby seventh. I think France got the goal in the men's, and then on the women's, I think New Zealand. No surprise there.
I think Canada was silver though. I think Canada did well for us Canadians.
I don't know, but anyways, it's been fascinating to watch, and it's been fascinating for many reasons.
Yep.
One of them has been actually two. I remember is number one, the fact that the triathlon was done in what was considered a
one
questionable
of the dirtiest rivers in Europe.
Water, right? Talk about sustainability. Talk about environment, which is our theme for today. The other one is the protests that we've been seeing from athletes about the conditions in the athletes' village, in particular a certain box bed that they had to use to sleep on. I'm not sure how comfortable that may be, but
they're making TikToks of giving each other power bombs onto the beds in the Olympic Village, and some of this stuff's quite clever. I gotta give it to these people. I got respect.
But you have to admit, I believe Paris 2024 is trying. They're trying to be sustainable. They're trying to be more sustainable. They're trying to be more environmentally conscious. They're trying to be more responsible, right? And not leave a burden for the host city communities and just the world in general, right? As they host these like mega events.
It's a monster.
With that in mind, we've got a very special guest who's going to help us actually understand more about sustainability, specifically right here at SGS. So let's go. Here's another Take 30.
Here we come.
Hello
there. Oh, you hear us. Hello, everybody out there, and welcome to an episode of SGS Take 30, where we get the chance to talk to a fellow SGSer about who they are and what they do. The full story is often surprising, and it may not be what you think. As always, with me is the prototype, Fulvio Martinez. And I would like to recommend that you guys look into the fact that we were chosen at SGS as one of the top 10 companies for sustainability worldwide by Time Magazine. Our guest today, have a look at her bio right here. Her name is Stephanie Hawkins. She's the North America Sustainability Ambassador at SGS, and we're going to talk about all things sustainability with her. Hello, Stephanie.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
I know her well, so I get to call her the Hawk. Just the Hawk. But that's just for friends only.
Nice.
The
Yep.
Hawk.
And I've also become acquainted with Stephanie at some trade shows here in Canada and in San Francisco, which we'll get into a little bit later on. So this is the part of the show, Stephanie, where we like to talk about who, what, where, but mostly who. Who are you and how did you get to be working at SGS? What's your story?
Okay. I think it's a good one. So in January, will be celebrating 17 years with SGS, I hope. I'm past the halfway mark for the year, so I'm rounding up. And right out of college, I worked for a limestone quarry and I did XRF analysis, which is how I came acquainted with SGS. They were our third-party laboratory. And I saw the opportunity and how many different analytical test capabilities and business lines that SGS had to offer. So I joined our minerals group in Beckley, West Virginia. I'm a West Virginia girl, born and raised. And I started doing aquatic toxicity testing. We transitioned a laboratory from the environmental business to the minerals location. And I did that for several years. It was an incredible job. I was able to breed fish and test wastewater samples on it to see if it affected their survival, growth, or reproduction. I identified macroinvertebrates under a microscope. So I'm a geek and I thought that was just incredible. At some point while I was working in Beckley, the continuous improvement team came on site and I was able to participate in a lean or 5S project. And for those of you that may not be familiar, those are very structured projects that come in and help our people understand what their work process is, what the value of their work is. And then it gives them very simplistic ways to try and solve some of the challenges that get in the way of the work that they're trying to do. And I just really loved that work. I like the fact that we weren't spending millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars to make improvements, but we were making small changes that had big impact. So I joined that team full time about 12 years ago. And then over the course of the past decade, that team really evolved and took on all of the new things that were thrown at us. So we worked on innovation for a while and we took on sustainability, which is what has landed me here as the sustainability ambassador.
Sustainability ambassador. That's a great title. Shout out to our viewers. We're getting a lot of comments. Please drop a comment. Let us know where you're watching from. Thank you for being loyal viewers. And I know some of you do follow us and have been with us since episode number 1. And we hope to obviously grow and carry our viewership from one episode to another. And there's a little shout out to West Virginia, almost heaven.
WV right there. Yeah.
Yeah. So my question for you, Stephanie, is what are you up to now? So that's a cool title you've got, right? Sustainability ambassador. What exactly is that?
Yeah, so my role currently, it exists to liaise between corporate sustainability, which are the global group that is based in Madrid in Spain, and our region. Because globally, SGS at group level has these very aggressive sustainability targets. They're science-based initiatives. And we have to be able to have all of our regions and affiliates work together in order to meet these objectives at a global level. So I work as sort of the middleman, helping understand at group level what's expected of us and working with our regional counterparts to determine how they might make an impact.
Cool.
Excellent.
I was going to say, Stephanie, you got a lot of people chiming in here saying hello from West Virginia, hello from all over North America. Basically, we got lots
of West Virginia in the house for sure.
Lakefield, Beckley, West Virginia, some familiar names there for you, I'm sure. What I was going to say, all you guys watching, if you want to ask any questions to Stephanie, drop it in the comments and we'll just throw them right at her because that's what we love to do, is engage our audience here on our Take 30s. So my next question was, so where are you currently based, and anybody in your team, where are they based? Tell us a little bit about location and where you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I am in North Carolina. I'm in Greensboro, which is in between Raleigh and Charlotte, very central North Carolina. I'm
Mhm.
about 3 hours from the coast and 3 hours from the mountains. I think it's the best of both worlds. I've
Nice.
been here for about 12 years. So I still make it home to West Virginia frequently, but I'm I'm a North Carolina girl now.
Okay.
And unfortunately, there are no SGS locations in my town. The closest would be the environmental business in Wilmington on the coast. But I'm a remote employee, and a lot of what I do can be done from my at-home office.
Mhm.
I am currently a team of one, but I like to think of it as a team of 4,500 because we cannot, as North America, we cannot reach our sustainability targets unless we all work together. So really, I can help spread the awareness and do some organization and prep work, but really it takes all of us working together to be able to make it happen.
Takes a village. It takes a village, and
Takes a village.
I always say that to my kids anytime the kitchen needs to be clean, but it doesn't quite work for me as well as maybe it does for you, Steph. But let me get right to this amazing piece of news we received. So SGS placed 6 out of 500 recognized in this world's most sustainable companies of 2024. The methodology is on the website there. It was done by Time and a organization called Statista. They determined this, and let me just read just one little line, one small line from their introduction. It says, "It's one thing for a company to give lip service to helping the environment. It's another for its leaders to make trackable public commitments to doing better for the planet and follow through on them." And we placed 6 on that. So let me ask you then, what does this kind of recognition mean for SGS, Stephanie?
Yeah, it's a huge honor. Remember, I said we had some aggressive targets, right? We have some huge ambitions, and we're putting our money where our mouth is. We're stepping up to the plate. So it is an honor. We're still trying to wrap our head around what it actually means because we weren't aware that that this was a new ranking. It's something new that Time Magazine has done, and it's time. So it's something that resonates with everyone, with media globally. Everyone is aware of Time Magazine and what that means. So we aren't quite clear on the criteria that landed us there, but we can understand or make some assumptions around the other companies that are listed alongside us. That, these were global companies. It was not specific to one industry or sector. So it gives us some great recognition, and most certainly environmental criteria were probably a leading factor. And we just wait to see what else comes.
I was gonna say, do you if you had to guesstimate, what are the sort of things that Time Magazine might be considering when they make a list like this compared to other ways that we've been ranked in the past?
So I would assume that it was somewhere in alignment with the 17th United Nations Sustainability Development Goals. That's a mouthful. We
Yep.
usually just say the UN SDGs. And those are anywhere from, you'll see zero poverty, zero hunger, all the way to biodiversity, life under land and water related to our waste. So these are 17 key criteria that any company can use to work towards furthering their commitment to sustainability. So at SGS, we tend to focus more on the environmental, the climate action, and the society piece. But you could fall within any of those 17 goals.
I just want to point out something. Can we get that graphic back up for a second? I want to point out something, that one of them is gender equality. And I mean, we're number 6 out of 500 in the world. Somebody's asking, are we the top leading tech company globally in terms of this? There isn't another tech company in the top 10. So we can tell you with certainty, at least as far as Time Magazine goes, we are the top tech company in the world, of the most sustainable companies in the world. But the gender equality one is interesting because now we have a female CEO, Geraldine. Yep. I don't know if she's going to watch this, or she's probably not watching it. She's a very busy lady. But I gotta say, I mean, that's some tangible evidence there, right?
Yeah, we're seeing a push for women in leadership. Again, we're showing action. It's not just words. I will say that when Geraldine took over, there was a lot of change, right? It was her message is ready to transform, and we've seen a lot of transformation. But what we have not seen are changes to these commitments to the sustainability ambitions. So that's awesome that she still supports that. And I will say, Fulvio, you're right. We were the only tech industry company on the Time magazine ranking. However, historically, I would say that the Dow Jones Sustainability Index, that rating is the ranking that we primarily fall on with other tech industry related companies. And we oscillate back and forth between top 1 and top 2. So one of our key competitors, sometimes there are some differences in our reporting that toggle us between the top position, but we're very close.
We don't shy away from any competition. So bring it. We're gonna be number one. That's what we're aiming for. My next question, actually, Edison. Thanks for asking that, because it's along the lines of what I wanted to ask next. Steph, as far as our announced sustainability achievements, which one are you most proud of? Which ones do you wanna maybe highlight?
Okay, so in 17 years, I've had some really incredible experiences that were given to me by my career at SGS. If I'm specifically thinking about sustainability topics, I will say that I love nature. I love being outdoors. Anytime I can be outside with my kids and my family, that's where I have my peaceful solitude as well. So from an environmental aspect, I love our park cleanups, being able to be boots on the ground beside my colleagues. We're taking an area that is close to our community, picking up trash, being able to restore it to its original natural condition. I love that. But from a society standpoint, hands down, it's the work that we've done with Sleep in Heavenly Peace, which is a nonprofit organization. Fulvio actually introduced us to this organization. They exist both in Canada and the US, and they are incredible. They build and deliver beds for children that are currently sleeping on the floor. It's entirely volunteer-based. The footage that you see on the screen is from a previous event that we had in our Houston area operations. And it's just incredible. So SGS funds the financial backing for the materials. There's Sylvia. I see that she's on the call. And
yeah, no, it's Sylvia. Shout out to Sylvia. We just saw her.
Yeah, so SGS provides the money for the materials, and then we provide the volunteers. So at SGS at group level, every SGS employee is given 8 paid hours of volunteer time to give to a nonprofit of their choice. And it's something that's really underutilized. So we're trying to spread the awareness and have more of our employees take charge of these every year.
Hello?
And did I lose you?
I think we might.
If I'm here, I'd like to just remind everybody out there watching to keep coming with those questions for us in the comments section, and we'll get them back. We're back. Boom.
You're back. You were frozen there for a second, but you're back.
Oh, no, I see you guys. Okay.
Live.
So Sleep in Heavenly Peace, we bring our people on site. We get to actively build the materials to create the bed, and then we deliver them. And Edison, my favorite moment, the most proud I've ever been working with SGS, was last summer. Fulvio and I were part of a team. We were delivering 5 beds to one apartment. There were 5 children and 2 adults living in this apartment, and there was nothing. When we showed up, it was 100 degrees outside. We were hot and sweaty and exhausted from building that morning, and we had to put together these 5 beds. And these 5 children, they greeted us at the door. They helped us carry the materials into this stark, empty apartment, and they helped us put things together. They learned how to physically make the bed, how to put on a fitted sheet, and then they gave us hugs, and they were so appreciative and thankful. And it was just this incredible feeling. It was so humbling to be able to see what little some people have, and to be able to feel like we were making such a difference. So that's my top moment.
I have to second that. I work directly with the organization as a permanent volunteer, coordinating deliveries and stuff. And you know, most weekends you'll find me out with my kids delivering beds for Sleeping Heavenly Peace, and it's so satisfying. You know, sometimes you get calls that are like, "Hey, this mother is gonna lose her kids if she doesn't get some beds in that apartment. So can you rush out there and get, you know, 3, 4, 5 beds to her that she can keep her kids?"
Get the family
That's
together.
that's how serious, and that's how much of an impact this small thing can make in somebody's life, right?
Yeah, no, I've seen a lot of the guys, a lot of the photos from what you guys have been working on with that particular charity, and that's one of many that SGS is associated with, right? So I was going to say a typical day for you, Stephanie, with all these different things going on. What does a typical day for you look like?
Yeah, so I manage most of the daily activities via Teams calls, phone calls, and emails. I do have 2 young children, so I'm always juggling that between pickups and drop-offs to school and extracurricular activities. I like to think that I somehow manage it all. And I spend a huge portion of my time working with our businesses, helping them to reply to questionnaires. Our customers want to know what SGS is doing related to sustainability. So they're constantly asking us how we're performing and what are we doing in order to contribute. So I help them with lots of questionnaire responses, and a huge portion is spent planning and organizing these events. So reaching out to nonprofit organizations where we have locations that are interested in participating, being able to ensure that we have all of our waivers in place, both internally and externally, so that we can participate without liability. And then lastly, reporting is a very time-consuming aspect. SGS reports semi-annually for sustainability. In 2024, we're actually also going to report Q3, so we'll have 3 reporting periods. It is all hands on deck, and it is very much a team effort. We have components from HR, from procurement, from finance, from health and safety. It's a huge team effort in order to be able to get the reporting. Our finance team works around the clock for several days in order to be able to be successful.
Before we get to the next
Yep.
question, sorry, Harry, before we get to the next question, so 2 things. I want to plug in that we are actively working with Stephanie on bringing up and publishing a SharePoint page that's going to be exclusive to sustainability, community involvement, the work that you do essentially, where people are going to be able to find this kind of data. They're going to be able to find policy. They're going to be able to find stories about, you know, different community involvement across the region, and so on and so on. So look for that. We are going to be working with Stephanie on getting that up and running this year. The other thing I want to bring up, which is somewhat related to what you were just talking about, is Sylvia is asking the question, in fact, how do you see your position or SGS changing in the future as sustainability is on the front line of our clients' mind? And you just mentioned our clients, that they are interested and more interested in this topic.
I think it has to do with transparency, and from the beginning, we've been transparent. I think that all of the leading industries, all of the leading companies that are alongside us, everyone's learning. Sustainability it's not new, but it's still very much in its infancy. So regulations are constantly changing. We saw originally only Scope 1 emissions and then Scope 2 emissions, and now we're preparing to report Scope 3 emissions. So I think that the key is that we continue, and we are committed in our ambitions to changing and adjusting as regulation requires, and being fully transparent with our customers, working together, understanding how our emissions may impact their emissions and vice versa.
Well, I was going to say, my experience with Stephanie has been very interesting, because we met in Toronto at one trade show, and we met at another one where we worked together on the Give Orange initiative at the RSA conference in San Francisco. So I think I'm pretty sure people have gotten a bit of a hint about what Give Orange is about, but maybe you can tell some of the viewers out there that may not know about the strides that have been made with our Give Orange project.
Sorry, I gotta point out the deer and headlight look you have in that picture.
Oh wait, go back. Who, me? Oh,
Yeah,
that's my go-to. That's
your go-to. That's your
my social media, or this. I do that a lot.
You're frozen again, by the way.
Oh, am I?
Anyways,
I thought you were frozen.
Steph, go ahead.
We had such a good time at RSA, and I gotta say, if I'm gonna be stuck on an exhibit hall floor with somebody for a couple days, Harry's a pretty good person to be stuck with.
Oh,
We had a good time. But Give Orange, so we've now piloted Give Orange in 2 events with 2 different business lines, both with the Minerals Group in Toronto and with Business Assurance in San Francisco. And it really is this concept that changes the way we do sales and marketing by merging it with our sustainability targets. Traditionally, the way that we've handled such events from a sales and marketing perspective would be that we would have keychains and pins and stress balls and water bottles, tangible things that are branded with SGS that we give out in order to draw attention to our booth so that we can collect lead and contact information for prospective clients. But that really goes against our sustainability ambitions. We want to reduce the amount of waste that ends up in landfill. We want to reduce the amount of plastic that we are purchasing and what we're consuming. So the concept was, let's give our time. Let's give back to the communities that are around us. And I mentioned earlier that every employee has these 8 paid hours of volunteer time. So we can commit on behalf of the region to give hours, volunteer hours, in the prospective client's honor in exchange for their information. So instead of giving you something that you're going to toss in the trash can, maybe even before you leave the hotel, or you're going to give to your kids and it's going to end up in the trash at home, we're going to volunteer in a nonprofit in your honor.
Do you remember, Stephanie, when we were talking and developing this concept, that I told you about this experience I had of being handed an SGS pen at a meeting, and I was simply just waiting for the meeting to start, clicking on the pen as you do, right, with those kinds of pens sometimes, and the thing freaking exploded in my hand. So like, that's not a great look for SGS. Not to mention the fact that it ended up in the garbage, but I ended up with like blue hands for the rest of the day. Anyways, it's just,
it was terrible quality. It's not what we want people to think about when they think of SGS.
When you need to be sure, right? Like, it's just, you don't want to be giving out pens that explode. Yeah.
And at RSA, the response was incredible. Harry, I think there was one lady who asked if she could hug me. You know, she was so excited. And people were just, they really embraced the fact that we weren't giving out things, that we were giving time.
Well, that was a big trade show. And people were all kind of like asking, like, well, what are some examples of things that we do? It could be cleaning up a park. It could be cleaning up a highway. It could be cleaning up a beach. It could be volunteering at a food bank or a soup kitchen. It could be so many different ways that these volunteer hours can get used, right?
Or like the work we're doing in Canada with, let's say, Aboriginal communities, as well Indigenous communities, right? Like that's something that one of the pillars, and it's something that we've highlighted in the past, that we've done some great work with those communities as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we got about a little bit more time left here. It is a Take 30 after all. I thought we should get to, why is sustainability in the spotlight so much these days? What are some of the reasons that companies are really working on bringing their companies and their standards up to par in this regard? What do you think that's for, Stephanie?
So industry has changed, the world has changed, and we recognize as a whole that safety is no longer the only criteria for doing business. So our prospective customers, you know, they care about what we are doing in order to make a commitment towards sustainability. So it's going to, I think, continue to get even more robust than we see it now.
Shout out to Michael Pultz. I did see his name there. So shout out to Michael Pultz for health and safety. Quick plug, September is a safety month. We'll come back to you soon with more information about that. But as Stephanie said, it's more than just health and safety now. It's about how are you going about doing business that it's responsible and takes the environment into account and the communities where we operate as well. So I think we have time just for a quick wrap up. 3 things you want to leave us with, Stephanie?
Only 3? Okay. So first, I will say that, it's a team sport. I've said that. NAM cannot be successful with sustainability if it's just a team of one. So I really need all of the 4,500 colleagues to come together. Second, I am open to ideas. So if you have this awesome connection with a nonprofit in your area, if you can reach out, I'm happy to help plan. I'm happy to help coordinate. I'm happy to help support you bring that to your business. Just don't be a stranger. You can reach out via Teams or email anytime. And then last, again, to all 4,500 North America colleagues, I don't want you to question the impact that you have, because I think sometimes we underestimate the impact that we can have as one. But if we all do a little, it really adds up to a lot. And I'll leave you with my favorite quote, which is from a book turned movie, The Lorax, from Dr. Seuss. But unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So please join me. Together, we can make a big difference.
Nice that the Lorax is also a nice shade of orange, just like our SGS colors. So I wanted to say thanks a lot to Stephanie for joining us today. Very fascinating conversation about sustainability. And thanks to all of you for giving us your questions, for watching, for taking part in SGS Take 30. I want you guys to stay tuned for more episodes to come about people like you, for people like you, in SGS Take 30. And goodbye for now.
Thank you, Steph.
Bye.
Thanks a lot, Steph.
Bye, everybody.